The biggest difference that I see or hear is really the confidence. It's all of a sudden they're talking to them more confidently. They're not scared to say the wrong thing. They're not scared to offend the person. They're not scared to call the person out.
When you start talking to a person, you also want to mirror them. If they're more high-pitched, they're more energetic, then you want to be more like that too. Now, if they're really mellow, don't get super high. You're going to scare them away. You're the expert. Even if you don't feel like you're expert, you actually are. You know more than 98% of the people you're talking to. If you want to build the confidence, just ask them, do you know the difference between the term and whole life? I was so surprised to hear how many people actually did not know.
So we are insurance agents today. We are going to do a special training, a little bit about Rita. Rita's been doing this for 4 years. She's been licensed for 4 years since 2020, right, Rita? 2020?
Yep. Right at that famous COVID year.
So what happened? What made you decide to get into insurance at that point?
Well, I was a massage therapist, so there was nothing going on.
You're a massage therapist. So no one wanted massages during COVID.
Nope, couldn't do that. And then Brian, my husband, actually beginning of the year, just before the COVID, he became an insurance agent. And then I thought, well, I can do that, make a little bit extra money. And here we are. This is our full-time job now, but haven't looked back.
You're Brian's appointment setter, weren't you? If I remember right.
Yeah, there we did together, and then I became his appointment setter. All I did, headphones on, calling people, setting appointments for him.
How'd you like appointment setting?
It was good, it's like less responsibility. I'm all about less responsibility, but more responsibility is also more gain. So here we are.
I feel like you like responsibility. Hearing you say less responsibility is better is surprising.
Life has, you like it, the saying, you have to be uncomfortable to grow and all this stuff. Actually, I don't like responsibility, but so it's part of life. Yeah, right. I choose to take it. Yeah.
Just like I'm an introvert, but no one really realizes that unless they really, really know me, because to the public, I have to be an extrovert because that's how you connect with people. So yeah, that makes sense. I like it.
I'm 110% introvert, believe it or not.
Yeah, no, I believe you're an introvert. I know you're an introvert. Introverts know each other. We know.
And we're very sarcastic also.
Yes, exactly. So, all right. So you're always helping agents. I've known you for a while. And you're a consistent $20,000 a month producer. And I think something else that's really special that stands about you is you care. Like you always volunteer to help. You don't say no much to things, right? You're always in it. You might want to know or understand. You might need some math to figure out, right? Detailed person, of course. But you're always willing to help some people. So that's why I asked you. I wanted you to jump on a training for the We Are Insurance Agents community, and do a training. And what's this training going to be on?
It's going to be I just draw a blank. Do it like a powerful closing or
close with confidence? Was it
close with confidence? That's close the word.
Confidence.
The confidence. Lost my confidence here for a moment.
So put in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if you want to learn how to close with confidence. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to learn how to close with confidence. If you feel like you need more confidence in closing, if you feel like you're lacking confidence when you're trying to close, if you feel like confidence is holding you back, put a 1 in the chat. Let's see. We might have a bunch of confident people here. I don't see any ones yet, but I think it might be like, there we go. Matthew Phillips wants some confidence. Denise is in Florida. Kim wants some confidence. Liz needs some confidence. All right, good. I always talk about I've trained, mentored, hired. I mean, literally thousands of agents. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze now. Don't pay attention to me. All right, I think I let it go. Oh, it's coming. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Still getting over I was sick last Thursday. I'm feeling much better, but still a little bit left.
Mm-hmm.
But I always talk about when I hear, right? Because the fortunate thing that I get to see is I get to see when an insurance agent first starts, and I get to see unfortunately them not having success at first, but like working through it, right? Working through, putting the reps in, being coachable, putting the work in, even though they don't see results. And then I get to see that point where they start having the results. And through that process, I get to hear some calls, right? And I hear the calls when they're not closing, and then I start hearing them when they are closing, right? And realistically, I think the biggest difference that I see or hear is really the confidence, right? It's all of a sudden they're talking to them more confidently. They're not scared. They're not scared to say the wrong thing. They're not scared to offend the person. They're not scared to call the person out, ask certain questions. Like it's just all of a sudden it's like they're talking to their grandmother, right? Or their grandfather, right? And just like you don't need confidence to talk to your grandmother or grandfather, right? And once I see that, that's really when you start seeing them close, right? It's because now it becomes a natural conversation. They're not so much worried about the sale. They're going through the process. They're looking to help. So I think that you doing a training on that is going to be super awesome, super beneficial for everyone to hear. So I'm excited. So let's get started, right? Everyone ready for Rita? Who's ready for Rita? Everyone's ready for Rita. We got a bunch of ones. Everyone's ready, pumped up. So I'm ready. So let's get started. I'll jump in here and there and add my 2 cents, because I don't know what else to do sometimes when people are talking, but add my 2 cents. But yeah, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. Yeah, you summed it out. Like, to have a confident closing, you really have to have also a confident, calm beginning. And it literally, the confident closing really starts from the hello. Yeah, and just to go back what we talked earlier, like you said, I used to be Brian's appointment setter because I didn't want that responsibility. It was always so nerve-wracking. Is the application gonna go through? Are they gonna? There was a lot of nervousness and the responsibility of pleasing that person. And then as I've been keep doing it, I've calmed down and being just calm and being there. Okay, let's see what I can do and let's see what I cannot do, and let it just, that peace and calm actually helps you to be more confident, and it really starts from the hello. And that just this calm tone, like this, not super fast chippy talking. And when you start talking to a person, you also want to mirror them. If they're more high pitched, they're more energetic, then you want to be more like that too. Now, if they're really mellow, like don't get super hype. You're gonna scare them away. So you want to do this mirroring, stay calm, and like, okay, let's see what we can do. Like, what made you think about this final expense? Like, what made you put this request in? What made you call in? What made you fill out the application? How can I help you? Let's do it. And you just start this conversation. Really, what can I do for you? And then also keep in mind, you're the expert.
You're the
If you
expert. Keep calm, Mira. And then I'm just want to jump in real fast, guys. We're gonna do Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions for Rita as she's going, throw those questions in the chat, and then at the very end, we're gonna go through, pull those questions, and get them all answered. Right. So all right. So calm, Mira, confidence,
and a tone. Keep your
and the tone. Okay. The tone's important, right?
It is very important, the tone. A lot of people, when they get nervous, they get high pitch. And chippy, you may scare people away. They're not going to trust you. And the second thing is that you're the expert. Even if you don't feel like you're expert, you actually are. You know more than 98% of the people you're talking to. I was surprised to find out how many people did not even know the difference between the term and whole life. If you want to build the confidence, just ask them. So, do you know the difference between the term and whole life? Somebody like, yeah, but refresh my memory, or they say, no, I don't. I was so surprised to hear how many people actually did not know what's the difference between the term and whole life. And in order for you to even get your license, that's one thing you know, and you're expert. So that's all you need to feel like an expert. And then when you ask those medical questions, um, you know, again, that calm confidence, just like, okay, any kind of history of anything, um, like, does your doctor prescribe you any medications? Like, don't be scared of asking those things. Um, and you just casually. And also when you're asking those questions, like sometimes they say, oh, I'm like, some people I've heard, they say like, are you healthy? Oh yeah, I'm healthy. Okay. Do you know
Optimistic,
if you
right?
how many times I've heard somebody saying they're healthy and they're on dialysis?
They're
Because in
very
their mind,
optimistic. Yeah, they're
they're,
very, very optimistic. Yes.
they're I'm like, dude, your optimism is great.
I had a guy on
And so,
oxygen right in front of me. I'm watching. He's on oxygen. I'm in the field, and I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, yeah, I don't understand. I'm perfectly healthy. Not
mhm,
only was he on oxygen, he had diabetic neuropathy, and he had parts of his feet cut off. Like I think it's like cut off at the ankle from circulation. Right, the exact opposite of healthy. And he's like, yeah, I don't understand. I'm super healthy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, in a wheelchair, in a
Mhm.
wheelchair.
It's like a triple guaranteed issue, and
Triple guaranteed issue. It's it. Yeah, perfectly healthy. I don't understand. Why is my rates high?
exactly. And so yeah, and also during those like medical questions, like, don't get too roboty. Like,
Okay.
ask, yeah, like you don't want to be like this, like blah 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 blah. It's also keep it conversational. Okay, so I say, oh, your blood pressure is all good, but it's very well. I guess the medication is really doing the job.
Right.
How many medications have your doctor prescribed you for that? 3. Okay, good. Yeah, you don't have any blood pressure issue.
So that's a good
And
point. We were talking about that today, right? Like
mhm,
being like being a field underwriter, and learning to dig those questions, right? So like if they tell you they don't have any blood pressure issues, but they're taking a blood pressure medicine, like people think that. Like I don't have like had people tell me before, like I don't even know why I take this medicine. I don't have a blood pressure issue, and it's like, well, the medicine's working. The medicine's working, right? So digging into that and then asking some questions like, is there any medications that you're taking? Is there any medications you prescribe that you're not taking? Right, like really, really
mhm,
digging into the underwriting process. Right, I like that.
yeah, and that's where it all comes in. You being the expert is like calmly asking a little bit different ways. Has your doctor prescribed you anything? Maybe have you ever even discussed with your doctor about chest pains? Has a doctor prescribed you any medications while there is figuring out that you do not have any heart problems? Anything to improve your memory? Because nobody has a dementia.
Right.
Nobody. But yeah, I'm taking something to improve it. Not sure why. I guess they forgot. Uh, and so, yeah. And if you think of yourself that I know more than they do because I'm an expert, I did do this training to even get licensed. That's what makes you expert, and that's why you can calm down and just ask those questions. And also, while they're talking about these things, like one of them during those times, it's also you want to find out, why did they even call in? Why are they trying to get final expense? Why are they entertaining the idea that they even maybe need final expense life insurance? There has to be something that triggered that. They may have had a loss recently, and seen that they themselves had to struggle to pay, or their friend or family member had to struggle to pay for the funeral. So just asking those questions, like, what made you really to call in, or what made you to fill out that form? What interests you to even get more information about it? And then let them talk.
So let me ask you this. That's great, right? So, obviously the person was calling about insurance, or they're hitting some kind of advertisement. You're on the phone with them, and they tell you, when you ask them, hey, what prompted you to give us your information? What interests you in this? And they tell you nothing. Are you saying that most of the time that they're not being honest, that like chances are if they're looking for insurance, there's something on their mind?
They definitely have something in their mind. You don't, like, I'm not looking online cars. I have no interest to get me a new
Right.
car. I know it's a disappointment for you, David, but I'm not
That's a huge
looking.
point. No, I don't. Listen, I'm about to ready to get rid of my truck. I drive my scooter more than anything else. I'm about to just get rid of my truck and take an Uber. If I could get close to what I bought it for, that truck would have been gone. I don't need a car. I'm over cars.
There you go.
That's it. I had enough cars in the last couple of years. But so that's good. So in the chat, like let put a 2 in the chat if you're guilty of asking if there is a reason that prompted you, and they told you nothing, not really. They didn't give you a real answer, and you let them get away with that. Put a 2 in the chat if you're guilty for doing that. I've definitely done that before.
Oh,
but I think what Rita's saying is exactly no, there's definitely a reason, right? That you don't just put your information, you don't give your information about insurance without some kind of reason, right? So something happened for them to think about that. So put a 2 in the chat if that's something that you think you've done. That's good. I like that. I think that right there really helps, because if you really dig into the why, right? That's important. Like, you're in sales, you got to figure out the why. That's going to definitely help you close more deals or help more people. So I think that's a really good bullet that you gave, Rita.
Yeah, and it also helps them to reiterate. Is that a word? Reiterate?
It is in Russian. It's like in Russian, that's a word.
Hi, this meeting is over.
I'm just joking. She's not really Russian. It's just an inside joke.
There comes the sarcasm in again.
That's
okay.
it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely it.
But yeah, it's just helped them to to think over, okay, that's why I called in. Like, that makes them think, why were they calling in, and why are they calling, or why are they sending that information in now or in the past? And I know, like, a lot of times when you ask this question and they said, oh, I just wanted to get quotes, and you just like, okay, crap, what am I going to ask you now? All right, keep coming up, and then you can always come back, because
no one wants insurance quotes. Nobody, right? No one wants insurance quotes. Quotes do nothing. No one wants insurance quotes. Like, I'm just calling random dealerships because I just want to see how much cars cost. Hey, why are you calling? I'm just curious. I just want to know how much the cars cost. I have no interest in your car, right? No one just wants quotes.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you know why are you saying that? Because you don't trust this person yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Because you want something, and you're trying to get some information without giving too much, right? You're trying to take without giving.
You're still keeping your wall up.
Yeah.
And that's where you, like, literally you continue. You don't, like, I'm not a big pusher. It's just not in me. I cannot do it. But little pokes, like, okay, no, yeah, okay, let me see. And so you're looking, are you looking just to cover the funeral, or just cremation? You want to leave something for your grandkids? Like, what kind of money are you wanting? More questions. Oh yeah, I want to do the funeral. And then they suddenly start talking more to you, because you stay calm again and dig in more in questions, asking that same question different way. And the more you do, the more you figure out what's, and listen others doing it. But yeah, you just continue having a normal conversation, and that's the key, in my opinion. And that has really, And I've had many people they're very closed. They flat out told me they're not doing anything today. They're not going to give the bank account. And then you just have this conversation. You slowly move forward, finding out what they want, what is important for them. And sometimes at the end, they stay, I am not doing anything. And sometimes they're like, you know what? I will still remember this. You know what? I was not planning to do anything today, but Rita, I trust you. And then we did the application. She's still my client, And
And
then,
and that's the thing too, right? So like I wasn't planning on doing anything today. All right, cool, but you need insurance.
Mhm.
Like, what were you gonna do? You're gonna wait till after you pass away to get the insurance? When
yeah,
did you plan on getting it? Right? Wait till you're older. You're less healthy.
mhm,
That's the one thing that we have on our side is like, there's a lot of things I might see that I want to purchase. I just bought like a mattress topper, and then Black Friday had a special deal, and I missed the Black Friday deal. I still got a deal. I still had a deal for it, but it wasn't as much as the Black Friday. I'm like, oh, I wonder if it'll be like cheaper on Christmas, right? But insurance is not getting cheaper, And
no,
then then I was like, I'm just gonna buy this thing because it's just me going online to check every day for a better deal is probably gonna cost me more money than any dollar I save. But that's it. Like that's the one thing that's winning. Like it's not gonna get cheaper.
yeah,
You don't know what's gonna happen. You could go to the doctor tomorrow and they could give you a new medication and it's completely changed the rates. We definitely have that on our side.
yeah.
Or-
And it's amazing how many of them, as you keep talking, said, I know you never know what life brings. It's like tomorrow it may change. I said, exactly. And I have seen it too many times when people say, okay, let's do it next month. And that one doctor visit, it's
yeah,
not an option
that's it.
anymore.
One doctor
Things
visit.
change. Yeah.
Things change. You can't
Yeah.
do anything. That's it. That's it. You went to the doctor. They found something. They prescribed something. Life
Mhm.
changed.
And
Uh,
that's one of the part of the being this confidently close. It's like you always agree with them. Yes, you are right.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You want to think about it. But, and then you ask your next question, that's another part of when you are talking with them is don't attack them and tell them they're wrong. You definitely want to agree with them. Yes, I agree with you. That's an important decision. But now let's talk about
And then you could always ask questions, right? So like let's do a little poll real fast. So if something if you lost somebody close to you, right, and some freak unplanned, right, before you expected them to pass, put a 3 in the chat, right? I 3 for me for sure. I don't think there's anyone that hasn't gone through that, right? Everyone's like lost somebody sooner than expected, basically, right? Whether it was a car accident, a stroke, heart attack, unfortunately drug overdose, right? But I have lists of people in my life that have passed, in a younger age, like 60 or below, right? Where it's not expected. So it's like when you're talking to these clients and you're trying to figure out like if we're gonna wait, if we're not gonna wait, if this is important, we should get it now. Just simple ask like, do you know anyone that in your life that has passed? You could what age are they? Right? Hey, you're 62 years old. Do you know anyone in your life that's passed under 62? That hasn't lived as long as you lived. Right? Is there anyone? And sure enough, they're gonna say yes. And then when they do, be like, what happened? And then you get them reliving that moment and thinking about that, and then let them know, like, listen, like you just said tomorrow's not promised, right? I know that tomorrow's not promised, and if something happened and we didn't even get on the phone right now and something happened yesterday, where would your family be right now? And having that like conversation, not leading with it, right? But getting into there and not being scared to have that conversation with them and letting them know, like, listen, I do this for a living. This stuff happens all the time, right?
yeah.
You know this as well.
That's a good point. I'm gonna ask, do you know anybody who's passed away before you're younger? Um, And the same, and it's the conversation is really does need to be a lot of questions, you asking questions, because if you see you doing the most of the talking, something is wrong.
No good. Yeah.
Like you ask questions to make them answer and have them talk and share. And also, you don't want to tell them what they need. You want to them to tell you what they need. And how you do that is asking those questions. Because a lot of the time, especially with the newer agents, which I've done many times too, it's like, okay, this is what you need. This is how I'm going to resolve your problem. Okay. And then they're like, whoa. So, yeah, that asking a lot of questions is definitely the key.
Yeah, it's so much better when you could get them to tell you the solution that they need instead of, like who here, right? Put a one in the chat if you love being told what to do, right? No one, right? No one loves being told what to do, right? So it's like you want them to give you the solution. You want them to give you the answer, right? Do you know anyone? Hey, Miss Rita, you're 42 years old. Do you know anyone that
Thank
passed
you.
away before they got to 42 years old? You're like, yes, so and so. What happened? They were sitting at a red light and a drunk driver smashed in the back of them and killed them. So they had no control over that at all. No. Do you ever drive? Yes. Have you ever been at a red light? Yes. Right. Do you think maybe that's something that could possibly happen to you if you continue to drive? Yes. Do you have anything in place in case that does happen? No. Do you have any idea, any plan, anything that we can do to kind of make things better for your family? Any ideas? Insurance, right? Get them to say, yeah, I should probably have a policy. So you're walking around uninsured, right?
Yeah.
Asking those questions.
Yeah. And I've come across a lot of people, they're like, oh, yeah, God believing people, and they talk how you never know what's going to happen. God is good. I have good DNA, this and that, but you never know. And then I always like agree. And one of the things I was saying, like, yeah, you want to believe and you want to hope for the best. But we are living in this cruel world. A lot of bad things running around here. We need to, prepare for the worst. And that tends to really resonate with the people, especially the ones who are believers. And that's, I have a lot of connection there with the people. But yeah. But anyway, where were we? I got my notes out.
Yeah, where are we at in the notes? You're up. I'll stop interrupt you so much. I can't help it.
No, that's good. I like this.
Keep learning. Put a one in the chat if you're learning something.
Yeah, I've gotten good. That one good. I love the ones like, do you know anybody who's younger than you who's passed away unexpectedly?
Unexpectedly, yeah. Everyone's got lists of people.
Let me get a pen. Let me write that down.
But
yeah, it's the questions in here, and then another thing is you need to listen. And that is one thing when you are especially starting out, you're nervous. You're trying to like, okay, what do I need to do next? Where's my script? What do I ask next? That you forget to listen. They may drop little things in there. Like, yeah, I when my husband passed away, and he had a life insurance. And so that paid for everything. And I had a couple thousand left even. You think there's nothing there that is like irrelevant. Actually, that's a good nugget. Oh, so that was all paid for you. How did that make you feel? That must have been great that he didn't leave any burden on you. Right. Like that's a incredible nugget to go over again. So you really do need to listen what they're saying and pick those little words or sentences they do. So, because when they share something that they feel from their heart, you do want to stop on that. because they do, even if not intentionally, they are going to start picking up in the back of the mind that you are very surface level, and then you're not going to develop that trust with them. So it's very important to listen, and I think and be empathetic when they say something. Don't be like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So, and what's your, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like put some, like, feel what they felt and show it that you're feeling with them. You don't need to cry with them, but give more than surface level, like, oh, my condolences, but okay, so, and how tall are you? And then, so yeah, so to listen, feel, and show some empathy. That is very, very important while you're talking to them.
Right.
Okay.
They're like, I lost my mother last year. Like, oh, okay. How was that? Right. You know what I mean? Like, definitely condolences. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Empathy.
oh, I'm sorry. What happened?
So sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, like, even like, what happened? You show some concern. Um, and sometimes they get like, too emotional. Said, I'm so sorry. I'm not gonna poke you on that anymore, because a couple times it's too painful for them.
Right.
That can happen. So you want to leave it alone. Don't go too far. Um, and then also another important thing, the good way to if you have created a good connection with the person, you have things going, they're interested, they have showed, and then when you give them options, one of the big things I used to do, and I've seen other agents do too, they give too much information out. It's like people get overwhelmed. Too many.
Right.
They will give you, I'll need to think about it now, because there's too much for them to digest and to choose from. So and that's another thing, is you find out in the beginning what they're really looking, what is important, and then you give them those 2-3 options. Okay, based on the information you shared with me, this option does what you wanted to do here for this amount. This option does exactly what you wanted, and this one even does more than you wanted. Which one of those do you think best protects your wife, your daughter? And then you need to be quiet.
That's the magic right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
First
Oh
person
my
to talk
goodness, it was
loses.
hard. It's like,
Some people might have to hold their mouth at that point, right? Like,
take a sip of tea.
sit on your hand, sip your tea.
Sip on your tea. I know somebody, I've heard some people said, whoever speaks first loses.
There you go.
Yeah. And that's another thing that younger people don't realize. Older people, they think they move slower. Their thoughts move slower. You need to give them time to process it. They may have been opening their mouth, especially when you do a telesell, you don't say it. You need to let them process it.
Yes.
Otherwise, again, you keep talking and they have this information overload. And you have to give them an opportunity just to process it and answer.
Yeah. Sometimes I do that. I'll go on like autopilot, and I'm just got so many things going on at one time, and someone's talking to me, and they're just talking, and then I just kind of like zone out for a little bit, right? Because I can't process it all, and then they stop. And then when they stop, it's like you realize, you start processing and start catching up, right? So it's like you ask the question and you have to stop for a second and give them a second to think about it. Because if not, you're going on to like the next thing, and they don't actually have a chance to think about it. I think that's super important. Like,
Yeah.
if you ask the question and you just keep talking, it's like there's no reason to even ask the question at that point, right? There's no chance for them to process that.
Yeah. And that's where also comes that tone and being calm, having a slow conversation. So,
You got a great tone. You're always calm. You're always slow. You always slow me down. I'm fast. I'm all over the place, and you always slow me down.
right. And anyway, see, now I lost my train of thought again. But yeah, anyways. And then, and of course, laugh with people. Like, be real,
Yes. Who doesn't like laughing? Right? Put a one in the chat if you love laughing. Put a two in the chat if you hate laughing. Right? Like everyone loves laughing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's my best quality is the ability to get other people to laugh. Right? Without that, I got nothing. That's what I think. Right? So like if you get the people to laugh, they say people don't laugh if they don't like you. Right?
Yeah. I think it's really important to at least laugh them a couple times. It sort of relaxes them.
Yeah.
And I have noticed, like, people literally have said, Rita, I like you. You have a good vibe. Yeah, I don't know. You have a good vibe. And it's because over the longer you're doing, I've gotten more relaxed and just do some jokes. Now, I have done a mistake. I've gotten too jokey, too much joking around. Then you also can lose. It's like you have to have just that touch of jokiness in there, but then also we're talking about you dying. You need to protect your family. Like when you ask them, do you want to be buried or cremated? You want to be that tone. That's not a time, jokey time. That's like, so have you given a thought? Do you think your wife is gonna bury you, or do you think she's gonna cremate you? Make him think. And I think that's one of the things I also changed. I don't ask like, do you want to be buried or do you want to be cremated? I ask her, do you think your wife is gonna be
I like that.
bury or cremate you? Because when he's dead, there's
no money, and there's no money. You're getting cremated. People have told me before, like, I don't want to be burnt. I was like, you got no insurance. You're getting burnt. Sorry to break the news to you, but if you die without insurance, you're getting burnt. No one's gonna come up with all this money. Like that's what's gonna happen. So if you really don't want to be burnt, you better do something now while you're living, because once you're dead, it's too late. You're getting burnt.
Yeah. And another thing, when you ask, what do you think so and so is gonna do, is it makes them put them now in their shoes. Because
I like that.
Because
they'd be like, oh yeah, my wife, knowing her, there's no money, she's gonna be pissed off. She's burning me.
Yeah. And it's a cardboard box and nothing else.
Listen, Brian don't have something in place. He's getting burnt. That's it. Brian better take care of that, or he's getting burnt. You ain't dealing with that crap, right?
Well, he's always wanted to be burned anyway.
All right. Well, he's lucky
then. We're both going toast. It's
toast. You're getting toasted.
We're toasted. Right. We're toasted. Yeah. And then let me see at my notes in here. How much of the time do we have left? I want to make sure.
As much time as you need. You guys want Rita to hurry up and shut up, or you guys want to hear some more? One, if you wanted to shut up. Two, if you want more information. Let's see. Let's let them pick, Rita.
Oh Lord.
I'm in charge of nothing. I just facilitate.
Because looking at my notes, I have only a couple nuggets left.
Okay, let's get all those nuggets. I'm sure we want it. That's it.
Like one in one
twos, a bunch of twos. No ones yet. Just so you know, a bunch of twos.
Nobody wants to shut.
No one wants to shut you up.
Everybody's so nice. One thing is, like, when they give your banking, and you get that signature, and you said, "Okay, you're good. Bye." You lost the sale, because not always, but you don't want people to feel like, oh crap, what just happened?
Yes. Big one.
Yes. You're always like, oh, hey, the application is in. even when they're approved, I usually don't tell them they're approved. I tell them, okay, the application is in, because sometimes there's technicalities.
Right.
They're approved, but there might be technicalities. I said, I'm going to keep you posted if there's anything else needed. It looks good. So, looks good. I'm glad. I'm glad we got you this in. Now, do you have any other questions before we get off the phone?
I like it.
It's on that. Another thing I do, I will mail all my clients a welcome packet. And it's right now what it is. It's a bright orange envelope. It has a letter. I'm your agent. What we did, we applied, and it's a ready printed form. All I'm writing is the company, the plan is whole life, how much coverage, how much is a payment, when is the first payment, reoccurring payment. Call me anytime. It's all handwritten. I put their name. It's like a ready-made form. I put my business card. I made a magnets. Trust me, the magnets are wonderful, because just one person still having you on their refrigerator pays 2 years worth of magnets.
Right.
And because because as insurance agents, even if they pay 2-3 payments, and they cancel then, or they don't pay anymore, you lost the sale.
Right.
So it's really important to check back in them with the text messages or even with the calls. Them getting that little envelope is a very important, because it may take 10, 15 business days for them to get the actual policy. And if that gets lost in the mail, which happens a lot, then they're mad and they feel cheated. So it's good to send that, and in a few days, even if you get, hey, did you get my welcome packet? So it's, you're developing a relationship
too, right?
What?
Good time for referrals too. Calling back, checking on the welcome packet, right?
Yes.
Hey, you got any friends that are gonna die?
Exactly.
That get you the referrals. Hey, you got any friends that gonna die? Let me get their numbers.
Yeah. And so that was, I wanted to make sure we have time for that last nugget, because it is important.
That's awesome. I like it. Yeah, welcome packets are super big, and it just separates you, right? In this world, I think something that's really important for people to understand is, we're moving into the world of AI, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, my job's going to be replaced from AI," and this and that. And like, to me, AI does a couple things. One, it does give you a lot of things that you could use to be more productive. But when you start doing these personal touches, right? Like, for instance, like these AI Facebook profile pictures, right? Like it's not like, I don't think people look at them or take them serious, right? That it's like an AI picture. They're just, it's like a joke, right? It's like, not that it's a joke, but it's like they just don't take it serious, right? So like people rather see like real pictures. But same thing, like if you're taking the time and you're actually like mailing something personal, like, I mean, no one really gets mail. No one gets mail from someone else anymore, right? They get mail from Amazon, right? So like getting a personal, right? Or spam, right? So getting an actual something with like a handwritten like envelope. Like if I see someone with a handwritten envelope, like, oh, I'm excited. What is this? It happens like once a year, maybe. But like it separates you from someone else. So, and I think as we get more into like this automated AI world, it makes it easier to stand out with a personalized touch. And I think that's actually like a benefit, right? Because same with like, when everyone has an AI profile picture on social media and everyone's AI this and all their writing you can tell is AI. And then you see somebody actually write where, oh, look at this person made some mistakes in his writing. So maybe he actually really wrote this. Hey, look, this is a real picture, right? Then it's like, oh, this person's real. And they're going to stand out. They're going to be the different person now. And I think that's super important to like understand that. Bills, Jessica's getting bills. Jessica, stop letting them send you bills, Jessica. So let's go scroll through here. I know we had a couple questions. All right, let's see. Brian, after you have had a beneficiary call in with a death claim and you help and know they have been taken care of, how does that make you feel about the work that you do?
Priceless.
Priceless.
Mhm.
Priceless.
Because that gives value to my job. It's that I'm not just selling them life in, I'm really making a difference. And that's why he says
I like it.
priceless.
Let's see here.
And hey, and that also gives you the confidence that what I'm doing actually means something more than just selling them insurance.
So I'm glad you said that, because I think sometimes what happens, right? We get our insurance license, like, everyone wants to make money and they want the freedom and they focus on all those things, and then they forget what the job really is. And the job's
Mhm.
helping people, right? And if the job's helping people, how do you increase your ability to help people? And as you increase your ability to help people, guess what? You help more people, and then you get the money that you want. And when you really clicks to your head, like, oh, we're helping people here,
Mhm.
like that's my job. Again, that's when you're talking to someone like your grandmother now. That's when you have the natural conversations, and that's when you start getting that money and freedom that you want, right? And I think that's super important. And I'm guilty of that myself when I first started, right? I had big ambitions, make a lot of money, make a bunch of sales. But then as I started getting a chance to help people more, that's when the income started increasing. That's when I started really understanding, what I signed up for. Right. There's nothing out here where you just sign up to make money. Like there's not that, right? There's a lottery, but usually doesn't work out for most people.
Yeah.
Um,
And when you have a purpose in this job, it makes it more
purpose
enjoyable.
in life, period. Right.
Yeah.
Purpose in life, like, purpose, like,
We're
definitely
we're we're created to have a purpose.
agreed. I think what lack of like, when people battle with depression,
Mhm.
like my first thing is like, all right, does this person have purpose?
Yeah.
Right. And typically I don't think most of them do. Like I feel like that they feel like they have no purpose, and you can help that person with
Yeah.
purpose, so that'll help out.
A lot of people who say I'm finding who I am, what they're really looking for is what's my purpose.
Yes, I agree. I'm just scrolling back here for some more questions. Anyone else have questions for Rita? Post questions if you have some in the chat. I saw another one here. I'm scrolling back to find it. Let's see here. For some reason I can't scroll back all the way. All right. Definitely, maybe I didn't miss a question. Any other questions for Rita? Throw it in the chat if you have a question, comment, concern. Who thinks that Rita did an amazing job? If you think Rita did an amazing job, put Rita in the chat. That's it. Scream Rita to the top of your lungs. Rita, 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 Rita. So definitely had a great time with you.
And then we probably need to tell, probably people noticed I have an accent and it's not a Russian.
I didn't notice. It's Estonian. Rita is a proud Estonian, guys. Proud Estonian. And my geography sucks. My history sucks. I'm thinking Estonia was Russia one time, or USSR.
It was part of Soviet Union.
Soviet
There
Union.
was 14 other countries were part of, and Estonia was one of them.
Okay, and that's
Thank
where I get
God
the
we're
Russian
free.
and now you're free.
We're free, and yeah. And if you look in the map, look for the water that looks like praying lady right there below Finland.
That's it. I told you I used to work with Estonians, right?
I'm sorry?
I told you, remember when I first met you, I told you I used to work with Estonians?
I don't remember that.
Estonian bricklayers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was funny because, I was a teenager at the time, so very naive of the world. And I think there's a comedy.
Got stuck with Estonians.
There's a comedy, and the guy was from Estonia.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was a made-up place from the movie. And
oh yeah, the ice. The guy was stuck in ice or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's from Estonia. And I thought that was a made-up place for the movie. And so when I was a teenager, I was like 16, maybe 15, and I started working laying bricks. And these guys were all from Estonia, and these guys worked, and it was insane. I had we would get to the job at like 6 a.m, and they wanted to finish laying bricks at each house, a house a day. They had to finish a house. So it was dark. I'm like, oh, cool, we're leaving. It's dark. And they're like, go pull the lights out of the truck. So now we're in the dark with lights. We'd leave the job at midnight, and all the trucks would leave. I'd had to get to the back of the work truck, like a box truck. It was the hardest job I've had in my entire life. But yeah, they're Estonians, and I was like, dude, these guys freaking work. So, and you work too. I guess it's like an Estonian thing.
Estonians are known as being hard workers.
Yeah.
You know, we have to survive a lot of stuff.
I was a young American teenager, like that's the opposite of hard worker, right? So
No, I was not as hard worker when I was younger. That's for sure. It comes with the age.
absolutely. So awesome, guys. Also, Rita. Oh, wait, do you close the first time you call the lead or schedule a call back? That's what Sean wants to know.
Goal is to close right, you know, on the first call, because the callback, your closing rate definitely goes down. But yeah, I do get callbacks as well. And then I always ask, okay, so when is a good time for me to call you a callback? I do put it in the calendar. I do ask, okay, let me make sure I'm available for you. Let me look at my calendar, make sure I'm available at that time. And
So-
then I call.
Okay, so let's just make sure we're super crystal clear. Ideally, are you trying to close that first call or call back?
Mhm. No, ideally you want to close it. Because if they give you a think about, if they tell you, let me get back to you, the likelihood of you, first of all, getting them back on the phone is.
Okay. So
But you have to stay on those people. You know, sometimes
Still
I
gotta call
literally
them.
get them hold of 6 months later, and they usually remember me.
They've been dodgy for 6 months. They know.
They're like, this is Rita. This is Rita.
Got it. So at all costs, always try to close on the first call. And if for some reason you can't, you know, then you can't. But always try to call. Yeah, with final expense, or life insurance in general, I think.
Let's at least see if we can get you qualified, so you have something to actually think about, because these are all theoretical quotes for you.
Okay, now the questions are coming in. Do you prefer a more aggressive sale or a passive sale?
I'm more of a middle.
You're middle?
I'm more of a middle. I'm more of a, believe it or not, sometimes I get pretty like, come on, let's do it. You know, that's it. I do push, but I am not super aggressive, because I thought, like, if I'm pinning person so much down, and you know, the more you resist, the less like you're ever talking to me again.
Right.
I do get calls back when people call me back. So you have to find a balance how much to push. You do need to push. But I think, if this is my personal opinion, and I know there are agents who disagree with that, but if you literally pin a person down and almost force them to get a policy, the likelihood of them canceling is quite big.
I agree. I think there's like that middle ground, but I think you also can't be pushy if you didn't do your job first, which is finding the need, finding the why, understanding what, you know what I mean? Like, you have to get to know them. Like,
you have to go through.
You can't just like call, start with pushing. Like, you have to, like, I remember I was at a family's house, and it was a large Hispanic family, and the guy was basically like, all right, no, or we got to think about it. Like, he wanted me to leave, basically. He wanted me to leave. But before that, he told me that they lost a child recently, that they didn't have, it wasn't planned, that they didn't have money for the funeral. And then the wife lost a parent recently, and they didn't have money for the funeral. And this was like a large Hispanic family. And the husband, he qualified for like a great plan. So I had that part covered. Like, I knew we were providing value, and he had nothing in place. Right. So like, I was able to say, listen, I'm not leaving until we get this figured out. You just told me like you lost a child and didn't have anything, and your wife just lost something, and like your family looks amazing, and you don't want to do that to them. And they're speaking Spanish. I could tell they're wondering what the heck this guy's doing in this house. And like, they wanted me to leave. And eventually, we slowed it down. And yeah, he ended up getting the insurance for him and his wife. But again, it's because I built such a strong why and a need, that I was able to go back and be like, listen, you told me this, this, and this. Like, why would you even not get this covered? That makes zero sense to me. And like, I wouldn't be doing my job if I just walked out now. So let's figure this out.
Yeah. And I still do the mistake. Like I go straight into quoting and then said, okay, let me think about it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll never hear from them again.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one of the things you have to remind yourself how to do things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's like you gotta do like some role playing in the morning to practice. Marion's got a question for you. Rita, any tips to keep myself with the calm tonality when losing control of the call?
First of all, Marian, you take a sip of tea.
I don't think she likes tea. Does she like tea, you think?
And then yeah, like sometimes I feel, oh my goodness, I'm getting like a chit chatty and I'm losing it. And then it's like you take a deep breath and like, and you try to go back and maybe go over, okay, so you said, and then help to get back to being calm.
Yeah. So
like repeating whatever was happened before.
Yeah, I think one thing with that too is like a real simple one, right? If you start losing control, because that's what all it is. It's like you lost control, right? There's like, and then so like I think about it if you're in the woods and you're walking down a path and there's some turns or whatever, and all of a sudden you get lost, right? You don't keep walking forward. You start backtracking to find out like where and then you go again, right? So I think about the application process. The same thing is like you're going, and you're lost.
You actually know some things, David. That was another good nugget.
I know a couple things. I've been doing this for a minute. So, right. So now you're like, all right, I'm lost. I'm backtracked. So like, what do? You want to go back to comfortable territory, right? What's comfortable territory? Just verify some information that you've already given you. Yeah. Hey, okay. So let me just confirm. Is what you said your birthday was July 10th, 1946? Okay, and your beneficiary is going to be Melissa. Okay, and and you the same information you already have, right? Because they gave it to you already, so they're comfortable, right? You lost track, right? You're lost in the woods now, and you're getting back to that comfortable place that you are, and you just verify the same things, right? And then you slow it down, you take a couple deep breaths, you ask some questions, you get them talking, and then you move back down the trail, and you find your way to the bank information.
Yeah. And it, like a good little joke that people said, oh, I thought I fat fingered and made you a year older, on my keyboard, like something like that. But yeah, backtrack and get back.
Just backtrack. Just ask the same stuff,
Continue.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, cool. All right, Rita, well, I really appreciate you jumping on here. Thanks for everyone that came, supported us. Every Thursday. Next Thursday is going to be the day. We're not doing anything next Thursday, but we'll continue to keep you updated. I think the Thursday after is going to be New Year's too, right? So we might be a bit pissed.
I think New Year's is Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay.
Let me look. I can't always my calendar.
Might be traveling.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Wednesday is the first. Thursday is the second. So people are past their hangovers by then.
Okay, we might do it then, but probably the next Thursday we're gonna take off. So thanks everyone who jumped in. Appreciate you. Thanks again, Rita, and let's all have an amazing day. Thanks for coming. It was awesome.
Yeah,
super cool.
It was fun.
Take care.